And I continue to can't believe it's 250 years. Unbelievable. And our guest today is Monique Chism, Smithsonian Undersecretary for Education. How are you, Monique? And you know what? 250 years. And you're celebrating it with nationwide programming, aren't you?
Yeah, hi Neil. It's great to see you. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me on. Yes, we are celebrating the semi-quincentennial. So fancy word, long word for the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And Neil, I don't know about you, but I think for most of us, we think about the Declaration of Independence in a very significant way. It's kind of the founding ideals of our nation, laying out kind of the vision for the pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, equality. And we at the Smithsonian wanted to take this anniversary and do something very special. So we're doing a year-long celebration where we're focusing on celebrating, we're going to contemplate, we're going to commemorate, but we're also going to ask the nation to make a commitment to our shared future. So we have tons of programs, new exhibits, education resources that are available for the nation.
And when you rolled out this programming, what were you most surprised about? Like looking at some of the history and stuff that our listeners might not know a lot.
I one thing that surprised me as an educator, so as the Undersecretary for Education, I get to focus on bringing our education resources across the nation. Sad fact, but I'm going to make it happy. So I started to look at where our nation's eighth graders were in civics education. And unfortunately, only about 25% of our eighth graders on our National Assessment of Educational Progress were demonstrating proficiency in what we'll call civic dispositions. So that concerned me. This is things about kind of the Constitution, the branches of government, the kind of understanding of rule of law, and only 25% demonstrated proficiency. So we actually, in my office, we designed a program, an initiative called Democracy in Dialogue. And this is a virtual exchange where we might pair students from, let's just say, Cincinnati, Ohio, with students in Wyoming. And they have a chance over a semester long to really have conversations around key questions related to how their community has contributed to the 250-year experiment of the nation. And
Wow.
it's been
Mhm.
great success. These students are phenomenal. The projects that they're doing, the conversations that they're having, the things that they're learning, so encouraging and inspiring.
It sounds like it's so inspiring, and I think the real important part of all this is ultimately we need to know our history. If or history will repeat itself. I have an undergrad in history. I'm a former teacher. I don't know if you knew that any of that background.
No, I
So that
didn't.
yeah, yeah. So I taught history. I taught elementary ed, middle school and high school. Taught middle school history, and really, yeah, I keep telling people you got to look at that history. History makes the decisions. History is a way for us to make the right call because if we don't look at history of countries or the world or specific situations, we're going to repeat it again, again, and again, and again, and again. And we also need to know about how our body of government works, how democracy works. And if you don't explain that to people, they're not going to get it.
Well, Neil, I didn't know you were a teacher. Teachers are my favorite people in the world. So
Yes, I'll be a
I'm
teacher for
glad
life,
to.
even though I'm not teaching anymore.
Yes,
But yes, I taught for years.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And we feel the same way at the Smithsonian. We're independent, we're nonpartisan. We don't really want to tell people what to think or how to think, but we want to give them the tools to be curious and investigators. And so through our objects, we actually have that great opportunity to do that. And we hope our goal is that when you come to the Smithsonian or if you come to a program or you go online, that you see yourself in our collection, that you see yourself in our work. We want every single American to come and have that connection, that experience, but then also to leave with more curiosity and wonder to learn more about other things that you might not have had a chance to be exposed to yet.
Yes, and what they're exposed to is so, so important. And I wish that we taught history differently, you know? And I think that ultimately it's about learning the stories of people and learning why America, if we're talking about America, is a great nation. And even though we've had hard times, we always every country has had hard times. We have to focus on the positive things that makes our nation great. And I think that's a
I
part of
agree.
what your goal that you're doing.
Absolutely. That is our goal. We want to celebrate our nation. There is a lot that we have to celebrate and to be proud of. And as I mentioned, we have those four pillars: celebrate. We also want to contemplate. Where are the places where we still need to work hard on achieving the idealism of that American democracy? We
Yes.
want to commemorate. We want to remember all of the people who have sacrificed their life for our democracy. And
Right.
then, as you said, to make that commitment to our future. Yeah.
Even this war that might have concluded, that basically ultimately that people sacrifice their lives for us to be free. I mean,
For
that's
us
the
to be
thing that
free.
we have to understand. We have the ability in this country to speak our mind, and nothing really seriously is going to happen to us compared to other countries where they'll cut you off your hands or they'll kill you or some sort. We have to understand how important our nation is, and how we continue to be a democracy. And that's through the civics education and teaching. So part of this whole programming and system for celebrating the 250 years is really get the kids involved. It sounds like that's really big part of it.
It is, and we just launched a great civics website last week where we've curated examples of different learning resources, education resources, all framed around civics at different grade and age appropriate levels. So from the young early learners all the way through lifelong learners like you and I. But we really want to make it accessible, easy for people to use. If you're a parent, if you're homeschooling, if you're a teacher, there's tons of resources at that website for people to kind of take and kind of explore different civics concepts and ideas.
What do you think the expansion of what where the Smithsonian is now, especially you and your role? Do you see things growing and improving through the technology and everything to be able to reach as many people as possible?
Absolutely. We're using technology to reach our audiences, through online, through social media. I also see a lot of growth. I don't know how your listeners are gonna, some people are one way or the other, but we're using AI in our science areas
Yeah, I'm huge in
significantly.
AI. Even though I was an educator, I honestly believe we can really individualize instruction for kids, and that's the most important thing. Yes, there's a lot of things that you have to control with AI, but ultimately, as a teacher, but the opportunity to really meet the kids to their educational levels, so many opportunities now.
Absolutely. And, one of the questions that we're working on is there life on other planets? And
Mm,
so by using AI, we're able to kind of crunch much more data than we would normally be able to do. But a human checks everything. And so
right.
where do I see the growth? I see it in many, many different ways for the Smithsonian.
It's interesting. I had someone who was doing like going back in lineages, the ability to find out your family background and things like that. With AI now, we can find out so much more information and understand who our ancestors are more and more, be able to research history more and more. Research at our fingertips that we would have had to go, you and I would have had to go get it from microfiche when we were
The
studying.
stacks, yeah.
Yeah,
We'd have to go to the
that's the
stacks in the library.
difference. That's the difference, right? To where we
Yeah.
are to today, where that information's there and defined it. And then I think it's so important for teachers to understand this is such an exploration time, especially teaching civics. Where's the best place people can find all that information? Can they go?
Yes, I'm going to give two resources. So if you want to just come to our main website, it's si.edu, and that will give you a pathway into a lot of the things that I just talked about. But we also did something special for this year and created what's called My Smithsonian. So it's a way for you actually to kind of create your own path, your own journey, your own exploration into our resources. And you can get there by going to my.si.edu. That's my.si.edu. So two great ways to connect with the Smithsonian.
Thanks again, Monique. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Neil. Have a great
You're
day.
welcome. You too. You're listening and watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.